We have an announcement.
Yep. At least
What
I
do we
think we do.
think so? So we've been alluding to like some work. We've been alluding to some podcasts, some projects we have. I think we're pleased to announce that we now have Play It By Ear. Boom, new podcast.
Right there for you. Yeah, so
All right.
explain them what play by ear is gonna be.
Yeah, so we got a
My
couple of different.
headset got cut off. There we
Well,
go.
first of all, we got some video recording, so that's good for y'all. Second of
Mm-hmm.
all, play it by ear.
Somewhat. I look ugly
Somewhat.
right now.
I know. Well, I'm sick. You and I are both. First of all,
Bro,
we're
I
both fighting.
am. I'm just getting over something, bro. Like seriously, I'm just getting out of it today.
Whatever you let go must have gone right into me when we were sharing the microphones on the last episode of Don't At Me, because I'm like
Yeah, that
85.
sounds mad. That
Yeah.
sounds mad. Like
The essence passed through.
oh man. Nah, sometimes bro it'd be like sitting in close spaces and shit like that.
Yeah,
I don't
like the
know.
whole studio.
And then like I don't know, man, like you know some people be sick but they won't tell you.
Oh, that's you?
No, that wasn't me. I'm just saying like because this shit it really just popped up maybe like 3 days ago. And like I was feeling something come on and like today it was like yesterday was like the hardest to hit. I was in bed all day yesterday.
It kind of hit me Sunday and then started rearing its ugly head yesterday and today, feeling kind of weak. Anyway, that's not why people tuned in. They tuned in to
That's
hear
all
us
it is.
gab about some shit. So we'll get into Play It By Ear. So obviously, that's a music podcast.
Yep.
To be a little bit different from Don't At Me. I mean, you're still going to get our like ridiculous opinions. We're still going to be unfiltered.
Except it's gonna be mostly about music now.
Yeah, all about music. Even though Don't
Yeah.
At Me did have a lot of music, but you know, we're gonna have a couple of different things going on. I know one of the concepts we talked about was an album deep dive, and we talked
Mm-hmm.
about going in and saying like, all right, let's look at this artist. What was their best album? Why? What were the best tracks? Why? How did it resonate with you? Why? You know, all of that.
It's a bunch of
So
lies.
it's going to be a little bit more structured than Don't At Me, a lot of bit more structured. At this point, structure for Don't At Me is just like the docket.
Yeah, that's all
Which
we
is
got.
pretty damn good. Pretty damn good structure.
I mean, it is. I think that all pods should kind of go at least a little bit from like some type of docket or whatever. Like you should always have topics to talk about.
For
You know.
sure. For sure. That's how we kind of
Oh
curate our
my
list.
Jesus God! Hold on, bro. Pause.
So jumping right in, we figured everybody would benefit from a little demo, a little sneak peek on what Play It By Ear is all about. So last
Little
time we were
taste.
recording Don't At Me, you were talking a little bit about a specific NWA album, E Feel for Zaggin. We were talking about albums and how basically the current structure of albums started from some influential pieces over the eras. You
Right.
feel that E Feel for Zaggin is pretty much what laid the ground for work for modern album
For
stories.
album sequencing, yeah, it definitely comes from E Feel for Zagging. Yeah, so it starts with a prelude actually, and I mean it's just like Dre production. It starts as the motherfucking saga continues, and then like the guys from Above the Law kind of start talking, and it goes into that beat. You know that song, the Grand Finale by DMX. It's on like the Belly soundtrack.
How's it go?
I don't know. It's like a whole posse track. I mean, it got like everyone, like Method Man.
Huh.
But
I gotta
that
listen.
beat, yeah, you gotta listen to it. That beat actually came from the prelude track or whatever. It's just like a whole song with it. But MC Ren just goes into rapping, and then they go into like another song, "Real Niggas Don't Die." Then after that is Jesus Christ. After that it's "Niggas for Life," and then they start with on track number 4 is "Protest," where it's literally just like a minute long like little interlude, little skit or whatever, where they're supposed to be like at some concert of theirs. Well, there's a newscaster that's at some concert of theirs, and it's he's like, some people are out there protesting or whatever, and then like some gunshots like mainly go off, and then like he says he gets hit or whatever. So he's just like, cut the camera off, and then it goes into like Appetite for Destruction. So I mean, it's like kind of the sequencing is like, at first it's like, well, this also came out in the cassette days, where you had like, you still had, your 12-inch albums or whatever, but you had like cassettes mainly. So you had an A side and a B side. So after that, you go into Appetite for Destruction, and then another. So like actually the A side of the tape is like all the like gangster music or whatnot, like all the just like pretty much like run up on me, shoot you type shit, like all that type of shit. And then the skits actually kind of like fade each time that there's a skit, it fades into like the next song or whatever. So it makes like a lot of sense. This is the first time this has ever been done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think no one had skits. I mean, I'm just counting the skits on here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 skits on an 18-track album. So that's like a whole lot of stuff. But each one, thank you. Each one goes into like the next song. So you got like a message to Benedict Arnold, and it's like they just go through a bunch of voicemails.
Yeah.
That it's like they diss an Ice Cube or whatever, and then like the next song is like Real Niggas, where it's like a whole diss to Ice Cube. So I mean, it's just that sequence. I mean, this was like kind of Dre's magnum opus before the Chronic. Like, he didn't have all the creative control, but I felt like he had a lot of the creative control with this, because everything after that is like the Chronic, same thing with like Day Niggas Took Over, except he all just like, instead of having 5 separate like tracks of skits, he kind of put them in all into the song. So it's like, oh, you get that skit and then it goes into the song. Everyone except for like Doctor's Office or whatever like that. But I mean, they're all good. So anyway, the side A, side B thing, you got all like the, gangster, like shoot 'em up records on A side. And then on the B side, you actually have all like the misogynistic shit. So like all this shit is like dissing girls or whatever. I mean, it starts with like To Kill a Hooker, and like that's a skit, and goes into One Less Bitch and Find the Fucking Flea, and all these songs for the rest of the album until Approach the Danger, which is like Approach the Danger, 1-900-2 Compton, and Days of Way Back are kind of just like literally just talking shit about like females. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy, like just how this whole album is just like sequenced. Like, and I thought that I was listening to, had to be about 2015, right around the time before Straight Outta Compton came out, like the movie or whatever. And I was going back and I was checking out all these albums, or all like Dre's work, because this was when Compton came out. He had finally dropped something after like
his Detox.
Yeah,
basically.
It's basically Detox. You know what I'm saying? It's just Kendrick Lamar instead. But so I'm going through like all the like Dre stuff. I mean, I went back from like World Class Wrecking Crew stuff all the way to like the DOC, Snoop, and I literally just listened to actually bought all his discography on Apple Music, because this is around the time Apple Music was actually getting like popping, like right around the time it actually kind of came out. And what I noticed from that is like this was the first complete album. Like Straight Outta Compton was like kind of like weird, because it's just like a bunch of like
almost like a
crew tracks or whatnot. Yeah, it kind of is a mixtape, because like later on in that they get like all dancey, like something to dance to. You would not think this is NWA. It's like it's a weird ass song. Like it's not NWA type shit at all. Actually, Arabian Prince. I mean, just from listening to that, and then from this, after that, you got the Chronic or whatever. That's what came out next. I mean, it literally shows you, okay, this is the perfect album. This is how albums should be sequenced from now on. And probably until, I would say, I want to say like 2007, 2008, like around time of like, well, not Graduation. What's the one after Graduation? Like until really Kanye came into the game. Like, I mean, that same structure kind of stayed in because you listen to like a lot of stuff that Dre's worked on, like the Massacre, stuff like that. I mean, it's literally same type of sequencing, you know? Like you got like the gangster stuff at first, and then you backdoor, and you got like kind of the lovey-dovey stuff in the middle, and then, you know, it goes kind of back into like a hybrid of those. Like that's kind of the perfect example I can give of like right in the middle of like from what we had then with E Feel for Zagging to what we have now with, you know, all these real short EP albums.
A couple of different things stood out to me on that. Basically, your dissertation on putting me on, which thank you for that because I didn't know all that information. A couple of things stood out. One, the time change. So Straight Outta Compton was probably what, 89?
88.
And then this one is 91.
91, yeah.
So it's only 3 years, but again, you're going from the 80s to the 90s. So maybe the music is a little bit more conforming to like the ones you would see in. I mean, I know this is West Coast versus, you know, East Coast, but like Juice, you know, it just seems a little bit more upbeat. People jumping around.
Yeah, the New Jack Swing. The New Jack Swing.
As opposed to like the 80s.
Because I mean, you had reality rap, then you had New Jack Swing, which kind of it served both rap and you know, like not all the way, but it did like it helped with that merger of R&B and rap to like the same genre. And then after that, you got you know, like G-Funk, and like G-Funk actually started with on this album on E Feel for Zagging, Always Into Something. It's the first song that has like the little well, you know, like the synthesizer, like that high synthesizer. I mean, I'd argue to say that like Dope Man kind of was like the first like real G-Funk sounding song, but I would say Always Into Something is the one that kind of like solidified it. It's like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to. Because then you got Warren G. I mean, Warren G's featured on this album with one of the skits. I mean, there's a lot. Above the Law, all those guys, the DLC. You know, like DLC album came out before this, which I credit a lot. And I know this is kind of going all over the place, but I credit the DLC and to like actually having like the way that we rap, like the way that rappers rapped, kind of up until, you know, the mumble rap shit came out. I credit that to DLC. Like, just
so what do you mean
lyrical, by that? Like, if there's his album, the only album he ever dropped, the No One Could Do It Better. If you actually listen to the way he raps on there, it's like, yo, nobody ever rapped like this before that, but everyone rapped like this after that album. That album was 89.
So is it basically like the Run DMC was the and this is more like the or like, you know, a little bit more melodic?
The like actual like, you know, like different like type of bars, different way of actually you know, like
fitting them
trying
into
to think of the word, like the cadence, right?
Yeah, like the actual rhythm and like the tempo, right?
Right, like rapping actually off the beat, like rapping off the drums. You know what I mean? Like, but not just like this, a hip to the hop. Yeah, you know, like not just all that. You know, like and not really times. Like that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know Run DMC. Look, hey, don't at me. I'm not the biggest fan, but anyway, I'll get on that.
I mean, I think that like me Run DMC, like I think their best work is fucking Peter Piper.
Yeah,
like that's the only one that they like go hard on. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually a diss song too, which is weird.
They hate that pizza. Nah, I'm kidding. The other thing I found interesting, that's a live remote. The other thing I found interesting was how they utilized the medium of the time, the tape. Like you said, one part of the tape was one story, the other part of the tape was another story.
Right.
And you don't quite see that with Good Kid, Mad City, but you kind of do. Because he has the whole thing about leading up to him banging, and then he gets jumped. And then after he gets jumped, he's talking about getting out, being a good kid, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's almost like he looked at that same structure for E Feel for Zagging, and ultimately the Chronic whenever he constructed Good Kid, Mad City.
Well, that's kind of the point. I think everybody looked at the structure of this album. And instead of like, since we were kind of going into that CD era after that, I would say like, 93, 94, that's when like like CDs weren't as expensive. CD players weren't as expensive as they were before. Like, instead of it being a side A, side B type of thing, it's like, okay, well, you get the more of a sandwich. So you get like, you'll get a certain type of, like, you'll get like a certain type of songs, like say, we'll just use like, you'll get your straight game, like 1 through 6. You'll get, for 7 through 12, you'll get, maybe some like lovey-dovey stuff or something like that. And then it's just like, and then you'll get like a hybrid, of kind of like both. Or like the features will be like in the middle. So everyone kind of just went to like, okay, this is how you actually sequence an album. And throwing the skits in there that, make everything make sense, kind of brings all the things together. So, I mean, I credit E. Phil for Zaggin to the modern day rap album. Well, I would say modern day until like last year, because now
until it became
EPs.
SoundCloud mixtapes, basically.
Yeah, everybody just drops EPs now. It's just mad weird.
Yeah. So it's a little taste, a little piece.
That's a little bit, and we could, and like I said, this is just a little taste. This is a quick one, but we can actually get into more of this because it kind of makes you it makes you want to listen to like other albums of that time, or from that time, and just keep going. Like, pick the like top selling rap album of each year from 91 and just listen to like the sequences. Just listen to it all the way through. Like, what is the next? You got The Chronic, and you got Doggy Style. Me Against the World was 94. Well, actually it was 95. So you throw another one in there. Murder Was the Case, the actual soundtrack, which is, like, right. So, I mean, just keep going. Listen to how things, actually, like, pick your brain, like, listen to how shit is sonically.
Train your ear.
Yeah, train your ear. Because, like, you'll start to catch things like that. I'll just be trying to put y'all on,
Yeah, some of us need it, As good as I am, I'm always late, so, at least with music.
Yeah, but, you're always a late album listening motherfucker.
So that's just a little taste. I hope y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving. Be sure to keep your eyes out for Play It By Ear. Going to see more of those coming out. We're hoping to do those twice a week. It's going to mix up, kind of like we said, the format. Fine-tuning some things right now, but y'all stay tuned.